your recent, promotion.
Thank you.
Very curious what your new job entails, man. Because
same job, same job. But it's funny when I say the title because they don't people don't know. Like if you're not in the industry, what do you mean director of energy?
Yeah.
Like what kind of science, whatever.
You're in the lab.
Yeah, I think someone from LinkedIn thought what I had to do is science related because they wrote me this whole email about energy conservation, stuff like that. I'm like, why am I getting this? And I'm like, oh, they think, you know what I mean? They think, yeah.
You're like the operations manager.
Yeah. I'm like shoes, sneakers. Like I'm not that.
There's some people are sending you like solar panels to test out.
Yeah,
and stuff
it was
now.
something. I was like, this is one of you get weird emails.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone does. But I was like, this makes no sense whatsoever. But I think it had to do with the word energy.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. And this week is episode 212. But we got a returning guest, one of a mentor. I said it the first time, a mentor to me, got me into the sneaker game real early. My guy, Jason Faustino. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be IRL.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, I remember, that Zoom episode was so funny because you were like, sorry if you hear a lot of slamming, it's the bunnies.
Yeah, he was. How long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago because we did it. Yeah. We did it. I think I asked you in 2021.
Well, what episode was that?
That was, I gotta look. D, can you look?
Are we single digit? We're not single digit.
Nah, it's 100 and something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they are still rambunctious.
Yeah.
But they were being rambunctious that day.
And I was like, I didn't hear anything. And you're like, yeah.
I think because I used to, when I work from home regularly, they get mad. Like they kind of know when it's after hours. They're like, all right, enough of that.
You gotta get
why
it.
you still on? Yeah.
But we also got D in the building, producer D on the mic.
Yes, sir. Per usual.
Yes, sir. Man, I gotta say, you've been killing it, right? First off, I definitely want to talk about, the insurgence of the Saucony community initiative, run by one, run with one.
Run as one.
Yeah, sorry, I was close.
You're good.
I was real close.
You had the spirit.
Yeah. I'm very, I saw the first video featured J Tips. There's I think I forgot her name.
Vanessa?
Yeah.
Runner? Vanessa?
Yeah.
She's the homie.
Yeah. And I'm very curious of what made you want to push that forward, especially, this year.
I think that, that's the brand. Give them their credit. But I also think it's just sort of naturally what we were doing. I'm not so much sure it's we thought of a campaign as much as we are just communicating what we're doing and what we're about, One way to put it is last year we did a brand shoot, sort of someone we were working with in marketing. He's not working with us anymore, but Russ, he called it a Saucony All-Star shoot because we were working with people that we've been working with. And we basically had Jay Tibbs, Vanessa Frazier, Jeremy Penna, Castet, breakdancers that we work with.
Yeah.
And, just shot all different content with them. But something I noticed, we went over this sweet chick and I remember, I've told people this before, I don't remember who I was sitting across from, but I wasn't listening to them because Jay was sitting across from Vanessa and they were having such a good conversation. He discovered that she's not just a model for the shoot. She's a Saucony athlete, and he had so much to say because he had just seen Sprint on Netflix and then had a lot of commentary about running and was asking her about how she trains and approaches competition and looking forward to the Olympics, et cetera, et cetera. And she was asking him all these questions about design because Vanessa's got she's got a little eye for design and she's got good taste, and she was talking about asking about his goals and how he approaches design. It's such a good conversation, but I was like, this is what our brand's all about right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the two worlds, especially since I sit inside, it's like we have performance stuff, we have lifestyle stuff, but I kind of always looked at it together. And now I think the world is looking at it a little bit more closer together. So I would say Run as One is, there's a lot more to it, but it's an evolution of, I'd say like that happenstance.
Yeah. I mean, like I love the video and, I'm bless you.
Excuse me.
We had a conversation at ComplexCon last year and I was just like, I'm really starting to get into running. Trying to. I don't know how people do it. Like I'll be on the treadmill just laboring because I'm like, is this over? Bro?
Yeah. I hate the treadmill, so you on your own. I see you post it every day. I don't know how he does this.
Yeah, I post it every day. 3 miles. I run 3 miles every day. It's training for Thursday.
Watch though. One day it'll just flip. I don't know. I've seen people go through it. Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
I used to run Lower East Side, New York City in the cold. You know what I mean? On the bridge and stuff. Why are we doing this? Like, it's cool seeing each other, but this is not fun. And then I don't know. At some point, you're just like, I kind of like this.
I do think it's definitely different to run outside versus like in the. Because I think I ran to one time. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna run to go get bagels, and I ran to go get a bagel.
That's
and
good.
I got there, and I happened to pick the only time that all the bagel spots were just packed. So I was just like, I guess I'll run to another bagel spot, ran to another. I ended up doing like 5 miles.
Yeah. That's good though.
Yeah.
I think about this instance all the time, but we just moved offices recently, but our old office where we were at, there's not a lot of like running spots, oddly enough, for a running brand. And on top of that, excuse me, I think the week it was crazy, like torrential downpour, raining like crazy. But Minted was visiting us and they train they train for real if you follow. And so they've got like a schedule, you know what I mean? Like even when they're coming to the office, but they have to have like their run in first, and they've got it's no run to the bagel shop or how I was running in the Lower East Side. Like they were like, oh, tomorrow's 18 miles or whatever. And so we were pointing out where to go.
Yeah.
Also known as like raining and stuff. You know what I mean? I remember even giving them some shoes for like, because they were going to drench what they had and whatnot. But
they ran in the endorphins.
I think they train in all different stuff, but they do run in the endorphins a lot. But I think the rain was the rain was so bad they did like the 18 miles on a treadmill, and I was like, are you kidding? Like, because on a tread, like to your point, if running outside is a little different, but on a treadmill, like the same thing over and over for that long, I don't know how.
I don't know what. So my tip or my trick is I put on a DJ set. And I just run to the DJ set. So former guest Sango, I run to his DJ set all the time. His recent Boiler Room. And then like I've gotten it to the point where I know when the ad breaks are coming. Like I know exactly like, all right, cool. Let me slow down right here real quick. I'm about to get an ad for like waffles. Man, it's just ridiculous.
A DJ set could work.
Yeah.
I don't know how people run to podcasts and stuff.
Somebody told me that one time. They were like, oh, I run to your podcast. I'm like,
how?
What? What are you doing? What? There's no way. Like, it's just somebody yapping in your ear the entire time. I'm just like, no, I can't do that. Former guest Tim Chisano, he does every morning he does basically like a mini marathon. It's like 18 miles and he runs, and I'm curious what he listens
God bless
to.
these
See, I did that on the bike. Remember during the pandemic?
Yeah,
I did that on a bike because I cycled a bit. And that was when I was riding like that, we was doing like 20, 30 miles every day. I don't know how I see it on the bike because you have your moments, but like running
outside or
outside.
Yeah.
Outside. Yeah.
Oh, I loved biking.
Inside is like, I don't understand how people, like you said, they run 10, 20 miles.
Yeah.
Inside.
How?
What are you looking at? How do you not get bored?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even the 3 miles is too much. Cause like, even after I do it, then I do the Stairmaster and I'm just like, all right, cool. But I'm dying after. I don't know.
It's a lot. I'm gonna get a lot of credit for talking about running so much on this podcast.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, you're gonna be in footwear footwear news. It's like known runner,
Known runner.
Saucony's own Jason Faustino is avid runner and
no
director.
I need to get my I'm rehabbing my knee a little bit. It's not going to heal because I play hockey a lot. So it's different impact though, and so I could play, completely. But I cannot run. But I've been feeling that itch again. I want to get back out there.
Oh, I mean, let me know. We can we can do it together.
I'm down. Run to the bagel shop, wherever.
But I hinted on it, or I said it, but like, congrats on your recent, promotion.
Thank you.
Very curious what your new job entails, man. Because like
same job, but it's funny when I say the title because they don't. Like, people don't know, like, if you're not in the industry, they're like, what do you mean director of energy?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of science, like, whatever.
You're in the lab.
Yeah, I think someone from LinkedIn thought what I had to do is science related because, they wrote me this whole email about energy conservation, stuff like that. I'm like, why am I getting this? And I'm like, oh, they think, you know what I mean? They think,
you're like the operations manager.
I'm like shoes, sneakers. Like, I'm not that.
There's some people
smart.
sending you like solar panels to test out.
Yeah,
and stuff
it was
now.
something. I was like, this is one of like, you get weird emails.
Yeah,
obviously everyone does, but I was like, this makes no sense whatsoever. But I think it had to do with the word energy. But I'm doing this. Excuse me. Dry in here.
Sorry.
No. No, I'm doing the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm leading collaborations. I think of energy. Like that's what collaborations, like the purpose it serves for the brand. But I don't think it always has to be collabs. Like inline products that I think the Matrix, like regular OG, is providing energy right now. So I'm going to lean into stuff like that a little bit more too. I mean, didn't have to really touch it. I mean, there's a few things behind the scenes, but like straight up great design, like Josh's Crystal Caves was energy.
I'm still upset I didn't get a pair.
Yeah.
I'm so mad.
And like our team positioning it, like even re-releasing it at Kith and stuff, like provided the brand a lot of energy. So it's like,
so mad.
Not even a lot of, it doesn't have to be a collab. It's just cool brand stuff. That's how I approach it.
No, but I think so. That's definitely one of the things I wanted to talk about because I feel like now collaboration is always indicative of like, this person's working with this brand, and now we're getting, that is how we are now, we as in sneaker community is always just being introduced into something new and something like that. But for you to see it as like, no, we can like, bring in something old and just, collaborate within our ecosystem to bring something new and exciting, but still like an ode to something that previously came out. Like that is I feel like looking at it, that aspect is totally different than what I think we're seeing in sneakers now.
Yeah, I actually don't look at it that much different than, just kind of got back into DJing, but like, what am I really doing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just playing songs like anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing and I'm not scratching or doing anything fancy like that. No. But like, essentially, I'm just putting the right mix together and like curating what's played and like kind of reading a room and how to move it or kind of what vibe you want to set for it.
Yeah.
I just look at a shoe and can think of the same way. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to have been done by an outside brand or designer. It'd just be internal. Sometimes I know where it came from and like the genesis of thought that went behind it or its inspiration, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes it's just it's a good color, you know, or it's archival, like Matrix. And then it's just positioning it from there. Like I think a lot of it has happened organically, so I don't want to take credit. A lot, obviously I'm not on my own. There's a whole team of people
shout out to the whole squad.
Yes, that do amazing things. But it's definitely something I want to lean into more, like time, as much as time allows, you know what I mean? Like, I just like looking at things and saying, I think this could be something exciting or a moment, and then figure it out from there. You know?
I mean, you know, in your previous episode, if you haven't watched that episode, please go back and watch that episode.
160.
160.
Yes.
No, we talked about just like, you are basically like the sneaker watcher. You observe everything, you know? Like,
Maybe.
Well, I don't know how much you do it now. I feel like when you were on then, you know.
I go through phases. Like,
yeah.
There's times I can't watch too much, you know what I mean? Because I don't want it to like infiltrate my mind too much, you know? And also, I don't know, it's like you look at something for too long or too much, it's like start to get bored with it or find things. There's plenty of things I don't like, you know what I mean? So there's that. And it feels nice to look at things like fresh and to be excited. So it's a balance, but I can't not watch things, period, and weigh things move, people move, or what people are into, or what people are feeling. Like, I pay a lot of attention to that more than like the actual shoot. Like, I had to really think hard when you said you got unions. I was like, which ones are those? You know what I mean? But I remember.
No, I mean, look, there's so much influx, and when you're working within, I think that's the hard, like, I don't know if you've gotten this or have gone through this, but you know, I worked in, one of my first jobs was working at GameStop because I love video games. So I was just like, I'm just working video games. But it was like, it takes you away. You're so in it that it takes you away of like, okay, now I can get games for free. I can try stuff out. I don't have that like, oh, I should try to learn more about it. So I don't read the magazines anymore. I don't put in that effort and time. So it's like, I feel like whenever it comes to anything that you're like fully 100% invested, or like you do it for work, I feel like it does make you take a couple steps back. But you know,
I think so.
Yeah,
it's a shame. I understand that people go through those phases where they need to step back, but I mean, I feel pretty lucky to be working in something that's as fun as this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not real energy like whoever emailed me. This is fun stuff.
Bell Atlantic.
This shit is, I can't even speak to it. That's how like little I know of whatever else. But no, it's like, so even if you go through those phases, like I try to get back into it, you know, or I don't have to, like something will naturally, and I like that. That's why I'm critical about things. I want something to catch my eye. I want, whether it's content creator, another brand's launch, new product design. I want stuff like that to kind of force me to be like, ooh, this is new, this is interesting, rather than the opposite.
I think, but that's super interesting, because I do feel like we're oversaturated on people copying other people to try to leapfrog them, the people that they've copied, right? And so I feel like we see more of that now, instead of people just trying to genuinely be like themselves and trying to grab onto. Because I had this conversation on Twitter, or I don't think it was a conversation. I just said what I said, but it was just more of just
that's the conversation.
Yeah. Speaking into the ether.
Yeah. It's to the ether and to yourself. Yeah.
But the whole thing of just like, you know, you should be trying to create for yourself, and if you find an audience, right, or if your audience feel like you've capped in an audience, then it's kind of just like, you got to keep building in order to become undeniable, you know, because so that any audience, whenever they pick it up, they will enjoy it, you know. I feel like you've done that with your recent, you know, several releases. I would even say the GRs, you know, like the team. I mean you, but I meant the whole team. All right, you know.
No, I appreciate that.
Even just like, you know, you made me fall in love with the Omni 9. Like, I can't stop rocking all my Omni 9s, because that it's like one of the most coolest shoes I've owned. Plus, it's like super comfortable, you know. And everybody's always like, "Yo, what's a comfortable shoe? What's a cool comfortable shoe?" I'm like, Saucony Omni 9. You got Omni Grid 9s. You gotta get them. So
that's a testament to great design. You know what I mean? Like, watching the teams that really make all these different Omni 9s, whether it's our collabs or the inline, it's like I've never seen it. It feels like I've never seen a bad color. Yeah, and there's a million colors. Like, just being in the office, or like, how many do we need? There's it's Omni 9s everywhere, but it's turned into that shoe, which is good. But also like, original designer, he's still with the brand. Chris Mahoney, he's a legend. Like, it's just insane. Like it's like I said, the shoe is so good that no matter who touched it, it looks amazing. You know what I mean? No matter what color, I'm like, we're gonna do what story are we giving it, and it like still looks great. So testament to good design. But I forgot what you were saying.
Oh yeah,
making me think about
just being
designing for yourself and and
that creating for yourself.
That's episodes 212 through 390. Like, I could go on forever about that. That's why I was encouraging you to. It's a real conversation when you're tweeting to yourself. It really is. Like, I think that's very healthy for people to go through, and without that relationship with yourself, you cannot actually tap into your own originality, your own thoughts, and your own approach to things. You know, like, instead you're just I'm very aware you scrolled and saw something and decided to follow. You know what I mean? Like, those people, that's where I'm like, all right, I need to not pay attention to if I could just kind of like, maybe I need a different account, but like just like switch to algorithm. So I get sick of seeing stuff after a while like that. And it ruins my own passion and energy I have for this culture. I don't want to see it, you know what I mean? But you gotta like see past that too, you know? But I just find that people won't, like, I don't know. A lot of people don't do that for some reason. They don't spend enough time with themselves and believing in themselves, going with themselves. Like, it's like Fiona Apple's rant at the MTV, whatever award show that was, Music Awards, where she said, go with yourself. But like, that's the way people come up with like the real shit, the exciting stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's when it comes from a real place of authenticity. These are all buzzwords, but they mean something without all that, you know, like all the cliche that surrounds it. Like, but you don't get there if I don't know what it is. It's probably people's lack of self-confidence or I don't know. It's a lot with cloud. You know, the sneaker game is very like, I don't know.
It's
ego driven.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a whole 100 other episodes if you went into it.
I mean, because you've been in this very early. You know, we talked about it on your episode. Make sure you tap in. This is the last time I'll plug it. But you know, you've seen the ins and outs. I feel like you've seen every ebb and flow of, like, you know, being within sneakers, loving sneakers, the people that think that they're supposed to be the voice behind sneakers. And I think now, because that was a lot more locally centralized, where I can be like, all right, you know, I can go to a Premium Pete, you know, when he had the store, and then he'd be like, yo, this is what's going to come out. This is fire. Like, I believe in it. Like, and then it transferred onto the forums, and then the forums are also just being like, oh, okay, you know, Franlations. I will always bring up Franlations. Franlations, please come on the podcast. But I always bring up Franlations and be like, you know,
what's he doing these days?
I think he's in crypto now. So
that's a pivot.
Very, very on brand, to be honest. But it's always just like, you know, there's the loudest person on the forum is the one that's dictating what's the next hypest shoe, you know? So now we've magnetized that to where it's every single, you know, if J-Tips is like, yo, J-Tips is dropping the next shoe, like the next shoe that he's dropping, everybody's talking about it and being like, that's the next shoe. Fuck all the next 5 Nikes, the next 5 Reeboks. You got to wait till J-Tips Saucony drops, and then it's the shoe, you know?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, listen, as long as I get a pair, it sounds good to me too. But I think it's just like, you know, are we all following what we really enjoy, or are we just kind of just being like, you know, yes, you know, whoever the loudest person is saying that this is the shoe, is saying it's the shoe, and then it trickles down, and then we pass that on. Like, I mean,
I mean, I think people could put people onto things, which is great, but a lot of people aren't doing that. They're just following what's there.
Yeah.
I also don't think that's the worst thing. You know what I mean? Like, it would be silly if, like, you know, 2000s-ish runners became a thing through some other brand, and we were like, well, they're doing it, so we can't do it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's our bread and butter. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't we play in that space? So I don't know. It's a little bit of both, but I do think the world needs more of what we're like the first part of what you're saying.
Yeah. I think originality needs to be fostered a lot more.
But a big part of that is to dismantle all the gatekeeping. You know what I mean? Like people have to let people in. You know what I mean? Like I've tried to have that. I don't give anything. I don't give a shit about who you're following or what your background is. Like if you're dope, like let's work together. You know what I mean? Like I don't really care. And I don't know, there's a lot of it can be fostered. I think our leaders, like, you know what I mean? Like I hope they're encouraged to try. I mean, just recently working with someone, I like unprompted in our showroom was like, what's up with that shoe? And I was like, you don't want to wear that. Like, that's not your thing. You know what I mean? Like, he fell in love with it. You know what I mean? And he just kept saying like, aren't we all serving people the same thing at the end of the day? Like everyone, all of us creators are just serving the same product over and over to people. He was like, why aren't we moving culture? He was like, I could move culture. Like I can drop this shoe. And I was like, please do. You know what I mean? Like I think we need more of that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that there isn't any cases of that. There are amazing people doing amazing things up and down our industry, but yeah, there could be more of that, especially to your point, like it is crazy saturated out there, you know?
I mean, I think in content creation itself, like we had this long conversation at ComplexCon after we talked about just like the podcast space and how, you know, I feel like a lot of people are just copying Complex's stuff and trying to be like, you know, or just trying to be, you know, new sneakers coming out. Hey, this is what you should check out. And you know, there's space for that, obviously. But I also think like I get pushback when I'm like, you should be different. Like you should always try to be. No, you should.
You know, I should like. I've taken a hard stance. I've gotten into arguments with people about this. Like, I don't not like Black Cement 3. It's all time, but I hate them at the same time. Because at this point, it's just like, let me guess.
I take no disrespect. No. I want to know why. You know what's not funny? But I'm a 3 head though. That's just who I am. Totally I own every color, every pair ever dropped, and that because of how comfortable they are. I ain't cop these because they Black Cement 3s. I cop them because I just like them. So what?
I wasn't even paying attention. But also, like, I really like. There are people. Of course, there's so much history there. Of course, that is a favorite of all. Of course, it's beautiful. I'm just saying that most, like, if you just got dropped onto the earth and you started to get into sneakers, within a few months, let me guess what your favorite shoe is. You're almost like programmed for it because like there's so much discourse about it, and like. You would feel funny if you didn't like it. You know, is there something wrong with me? You know what I mean? And it's not a knock on the shoe. I'm not just saying because he's wearing. It is not a knock on the shoe. I'm just saying like there could be more than that. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best part about it. I probably would have not be in this anymore if it was so like singular and like narrow-minded. Like if the industry was like that, I'd be so bored. But like, like that's kind of what, like on TikTok, what interested me, not just you, but like Flex and Morgan, shout out, is like, I was finally like, oh my God, these guys don't just have Nikes. You know what I mean? Especially Morgan. Morgan, and it makes me feel like my sneak. Part of me wanted to challenge him with some of the like those challenges because I was like, my storage has all these brands, you know what I mean, and bad ones too, or old ones too. But and then to see someone like Flex like open up to it, I'm like, that's where like this thing will actually grow and progress somewhere. But it's not disrespecting like what like made it what it is. You know what I mean? Like absolutely. No. I just for the people who are so tunnel vision about it, I'm like, you might want to like,
you know, check something else out.
Exactly. Like go deeper.
No, I mean, the first shoe you sold me were Asics, and ever since then I was just like, these are the best. Like, you know, like, but that's the thing. So bring it back to Collabs because of that. It's just because what I think is always a really good and maybe you can tell me I'm wrong. Oh, because I've said this on another podcast where it's just like, it's really hard for me to step away from Nike, right? Like, but what always will get me is the entryway is always a collab. And I feel like it first started with Ronnie Feig Asics for me. And I was like, since then, it was just like, okay, Nikes and Jordans, whatever. I was just like SBs. It was mostly SBs. It was just SBs, and then those Kiths drops, the Eastern Conference Knicks colorway dropped, and I was just like, and then I was like, yo, you don't have to. You can look fly and not be uncomfortable. And then it was after that I was off to the races.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. But it's like, do you also believe that, where it's just like that's a good entryway, or do you think like, I mean, like how to? I always, because you're from the standpoint of like pushing the shoe, like how do you get somebody to be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna just jump off the bandwagon and then just randomly get a pair of Sauconys?
I don't know, but that's like, that's Jay for us. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like he's definitely brought in people that was their first Sauconys, and hopefully I'm sure they've got other Omni 9s and other stuff now, because of Jay. Like that's all a good thing. I think internally my approach has always been like, we can try to do this ourselves, but like it'll be even better if we do it with someone else. You know what I mean? And it's not like there's difference. Like a lot of, I'm not saying anything about anyone else, but like you could approach it very transactional and just be like, that guy's hot, this person's hot, we can like add them to our sneaker,
right? The roster, and then
make it happen. Like, I guess sometimes that works, but I think when you develop like beyond the solitary moment, and now you're building someone into like, I don't know, your world, your brand's world and stuff like that, they're going to stick around much longer. You know what I mean? Like that comes with like the right partner, and then obviously consistent, like follow through. Like it might not just be about like the right partner. You know what I mean? Like it might not just be one part. Like, no, gosh, Jay's done so much for us, but like, I think there's people who are like, fell in love with Foot Patrols or Star Cows or been rocking bodegas and are just like, now they've, just grown into another space where they're copying J Tips or, in the past Bima or Tomboga or whoever, So I think that collective of individuals is really something. But it's even stronger of a strategy from a brand when it's like connected to the core of who the people are at that brand as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm surprised every day, some like working with Jay or Westside or some other people, I'm like, how did we find each other? Because I'm so similar to them, and like, this is how I would approach things. This is how I think of it. This is stuff that bothers the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how that happens. And it's not just about me. There's other people at the brand too. We have those like multi-points of like, touch points and ways that they connect to people at the brand. But it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a calling, you know what I mean? Like it's just the right fit, There's no way to explain it. Like I always worry if I go on a podcast or I speak to, my friend's class or whoever, or even to my own company, and they ask me to break it down and like put it on a PowerPoint. I'm like, how am I supposed to put, I just feel like this is right on a PowerPoint, what I mean? But that intuition is not just like me being a Pisces. I think that's curated over decades of me liking this stuff and thinking about it and listening to people and reading about, what people like, their approach to things and et cetera, et cetera.
That's the curiosity gene that I always, I think that people who are curious about the craft and how to like hone it and how to like build, or like even just like their passions, like if you are passionate about something, you will never just put it down. You'll just be like, I'm gonna just keep taking it apart and trying to figure out how can I build this back to getting better, how do I make it so that, I still want to do this 10, 15 years from now, and I mean, the thing about you is that you always are a cultivator of relationships, because like, every conversation we've ever had, I always feel like I come away with something. I'm just like, I've like outside of D putting the battery in my back every time we have a conversation, you are close second because like I'm like
I gotta talk to D more too.
Yeah, you definitely gotta talk.
Yeah.
Y'all too. It'll be a straight lightning attack.
Execute, man. If you love it, do it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, but like I feel like the one thing I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I did want to tweet it out just to say it, but it was just like investing in people that invest back into you.
Yeah,
because there are so many instances where people will just be like, yeah, I'm down, and it's kind of just like a one-way street and you're like, you'll never see him again. But I feel like with you've always been a person that's like, I'm investing in you. And then it's like you feel the investment where it's just like, yo, you've put in time, you've had conversations, and then, it's not just something where you're just like, I'm just trying to move to the next thing. It's always been like, I can always come up to you and be like, let's finish this conversation we had 2 months ago, so we always pick up where we left off, and I think that's like such a great quality. So
I like that I'm your Twitter therapist right now.
No.
No.
I love y'all keep calling it Twitter. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not calling that.
I'm not calling it.
Yeah.
Calling it.
But no, I hear you. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no way to, if I don't know how, maybe it's the way I was raised or whatever. If I put any energy or effort into something that's not giving me back, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not any, I don't feel any type of way about it. I'm just keep going.
Yeah.
Move to the next. Cause I just know like you just know when it is, what did you say? Like two-way street or like,
or one-way street where just somebody just wants to like.
Well, it's one way, but like you also know when it's two-way and it's like reciprocal, and those things, it's beyond sharing gems. It's like those people change your life. Like they can alter your life course. It's not even a friend in the sneaker game or fashion, whatever. Like these ends up being mentors, brothers, sisters, like every business part, like it can be anything. Like I just like try to focus on that. You know what I mean? But I hear it when people can't navigate. I mean, I think that that's sad, but it's also perhaps like, maybe it's societal. Like you center the wrong people, you hero the wrong people.
Yeah.
I actually love, this is so whatever, but when people tell me they meet someone they looked up to and they're so disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, especially when it's someone I was like, I knew that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like it's so apparent. Like what a letdown. Like it's just like it's performative, but also like societally we just taught to like,
hold
hero
people up on a pedestal.
Put up the pedestal like these here. Some absolutely well deserved, you know what I mean? But others are whatever. But my point is like it doesn't have to always be about that. It could literally be dude on the corner like coming out of here. That's how I look at things. You know what I mean? And that can give you all these gems, or who knows what it can do for in life. So why give it all to the person that we're told to, or that everyone else is supposed to, give the energy towards? It's not always necessary.
No, I mean, I definitely think it's societal. Like we grew up in, 2000s was just everything was just TMZ blew up, and I think like everybody was just trying to be a celebrity, and now
everybody is.
Everybody
Social
is.
Media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Social
That's
media.
what I love about your podcast. You put people on that I'm like, oh, you got them. Like they're a legend. Welty done. Premium Pete. But then there's people I'm like, I don't know who they are, but they're interesting. You know what I mean? Like, look at where they came from. Look at how they approach this. They need the mic too. So
I mean, that's my thing. Is just like I want to talk to people that excite me, so that we can feel that on the camera. And it's like that conversation of just having these conversations that if we were just without the mics, we would still have this conversation. I think that it's interesting for people to hear, because especially when it comes from sneakers, because like I was just recently thinking about this too. I was just like, yo, and I don't know if this happened to you because you've been in sneakers for so long, but all my interests have always stem from sneakers. It seems like last night I was at a music like album listening party, whatever, and I go in and I had this premonition. I'm not premonition. I had this like thought of just like, yo, I really was invited to this because I was like, hey, I started this like I think about from just a small idea. I started this podcast and people wanted me to be at this. And I was just like, that's insane. Like, yeah.
They're much more than foot coverings. You know, I don't know how else to say it. I you know what I mean? Like same. I think a lot of things I'm interested stem from that. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's, what was that? I can't remember the name of that documentary. Just for Kicks. Just like, they say like New York City is like that in general because you know, you try not to be looking at people's making eye contact, so you're looking down. I think I'm just generally like that always. Like I just am like looking down and I don't hold eye contact, so I'm all over. Yeah. But so I naturally I'm noticing like sneakers, so like, I can't help it. You know what I mean? And I find it interesting even when it's not stuff I like or know. I'm just like, what are they wearing? You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, when we was at Complex Con, I was like, you was like, I was looking at so many sneakers and I was telling you like, yo, I ran into Davin and you were like, Davin's here? And I was just like, yeah. He's like, yo, I'm always looking down. I didn't see him.
Yeah. That's me. Yeah.
Future guest.
Yes.
But I definitely want to talk about like, you know, your recent trips. You know, you've been gallivanting.
That's a good Filipino like auntie term. Yeah.
Call me Tito. Yeah. But you've been, you know, recently you went to, I definitely want to hear about, you know, your time in France with the pizza pop-up. Right? You did that in France or you did that in Italy?
The J one?
Yeah.
That was in Italy. I didn't go, but
okay.
J
Okay.
Yeah, that was with Sneaker 76.
That was a Sneaker
They're
76.
Like you know, I don't know if it's OG, but they've been around for a while, and they've worked with Saucony prior to my time here. And props to our Italian team, you know, like Veronica, Simona, Laria. They were like, we love what Jay's doing. Yeah. Like we want him to come out to Italy. You know what I mean? I want Jay to go to Italy. I view him as like a Godzilla. Yeah. Just stomp all over the world. Jay. You know what I mean? Like
get everybody
I'm here to like I want him to do that. So
it's a kaiju battle.
Yeah, Sneaker 76 though, they put together a whole thing, like a whole plan. They wanted to go all in. Yeah, they flipped like a pizza concept. We have like a J-Tibbs pizza box in the office.
Yeah, that was
they
dope.
Sent one back. Yeah. He said it was amazing. They had like really showed the love, and I love when that happens because I just remember the beginning when people were like, I don't know if people know who he is outside of, you know, the Bronx.
The hat,
the
hat people.
Or the hat people. I was like, they're going to know.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
what was the last trip you took?
Personally, I went to California, but that was for some meeting stuff.
Yeah.
Like work thing, like work. Probably Paris.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's probably like shorter trips, New York and stuff.
I tried to see if I could link up with you last time. I was like, we're like across the street from each other.
When
I sent you the picture of the water towers.
And I was like,
And I was like, I'm pretty sure we're looking
Jay's,
at the same
video thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's not to be because I'm always gallivanting. This is a fried brain.
Yeah, it's all good. France, definitely want to hear
Paris.
about. Yeah, Paris.
Yeah, I mean, we go twice a year, so
the reception there. I mean,
it's sort
it
of
looks
like business as usual, but it's like it feels crazy. I just remember, like when we first started, is anyone going to show up to this? You know what I mean? Our account's going to come through and want to see what we're working on, and they did from the beginning. But now it's different. Like now we're really rocking with them and like working together, and like I don't know, like people are excited about what we have coming out. You know, it's going to be even better in June. I think the June one is like always the one for some reason. Probably just because it's like better weather. People are in a good mood. Brands show out. So, but yeah, we did our thing. The team, amazing credit. They programmed everything from like running events to, I think, coffee shop activations and some in the showroom stuff. And then obviously a big moment. It tends to be every Paris. Jay like hops off the plane. He's like, I'm going to post this today.
Yeah.
Go like, I already know it. You know what I mean? It's like programmed.
Yeah. I mean, this year, you've gotten 2 silhouettes to go absolutely viral. I mean, you know, the West Side Gun one.
Yeah.
And then recently, Jay's.
I hate being that guy on podcasts and stuff, but we've got more to see from West Side. It's gonna make people crazy.
I mean, you can send it to me.
Yes.
I'll take a look.
This guy cooked, and then, I appreciate that. These guys are doing their thing.
Yeah,
and our product team is killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay's next project, I'm just so proud of it. Like it's just growth for him. You know what I mean? It's a little different. It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's an exciting one.
Not even cemented. I mean, the storytelling behind Trinidad's, spot built.
Yeah.
Was
Plus, like we were there, right? We were bumping into each other watching the tournament.
No, I missed it. I missed most of the tournament because I was like, what was I doing? I know I was like running around because I was trying to get content. But
always working.
Yeah, always working. But I was
Trinidad killed that. People were going crazy at that tournament. Like
that varsity he had there was.
I know women's basketball is on fire.
Yeah.
But Trinidad was saying that for like years before, telling me I'm sleeping on women's basketball. The world is sleeping on women's basketball. He wants to show love to women's basketball. And spot build's like a whole different thing for us, but he did his thing on them, and then the way he brought it to life, like that was one of the best things I saw at ComplexCon because these women were competing hard.
They were.
Like, oh my God, it was so good.
And then they played like fans too or whatever. Like they
Oh yeah. I saw some of that too.
Some guy was getting back down. I was like, yo, took him to the paint. And I was like, yo. It was very competitive. Yeah. And it was right out front of the NBA activation too. So it was just like bang bang. Yeah.
But I mean, shout out to Trinidad and Homer because when he was doing that, it was live. It was live there.
Yeah. The reception that, you've been able to garner over these past couple of years, I don't did you expect that or foresee that? Or were you able to, or are you just like, I'm just going to build this and build it into what I want?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I kind of, that, not to be cocky. I know what I'm capable of. And then I was like, Saucony, I just like, I know it's slept on, but you also know people know.
Yeah. And
so all you have to do is just like put a little bit of a spotlight on it, So I think the brand is ready for that moment, and I'm just kind of, I feel like making it go faster. You know what I mean? Like adding energy behind it. You know what I mean? But
adding solar panels to the back of this.
Yeah. No, I knew what I could do, especially since like at the time I came from it. I was one of the stores that was working with Saucony. But like I knew if I went over there, like we can work with more than stores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's gonna be exciting. And I'm not saying that was an original approach. Like other brands are starting to do that, but I knew like in my heart, and that's just the way, like that's all we were allowed to do is like, we have to work with who really wants to work with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to find the right partners. Like we don't, not like other brands that can just go around and
throw some money at
it.
Yeah.
But it's better that way. I like that stuff. I like the challenge of
more
that.
Homegrown talent than
I'll always, I don't know. I realize I've always had this sort of like in me, even, people you probably knew at Extra Butter as employees, like some of those people were me watching them interact in the store, or purchase in the store, or talk to people, blah, 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 and then saying, you should apply here.
Yeah.
And they're awesome, and they're great for us, or they're doing great things in the industry now, I mean, beyond them. And so I think I always just kind of like what you said about observing, like I'm just observing that type of stuff. So why not give me the shot with like doing it for collaboration partners? You know what I mean? So it's like, I guess it's hard to convince people when you think about it, because it's, what is it based on? Like, and I'm like, people always want to talk strategy all day. Like my strategy is just like my own strategy. I can't really articulate it because it's like a lot of just it's a vision. Yeah. I'm sorry I can't put that thing in my head onto your PowerPoint. Yeah. But like it is there, and then watch it works. You know what I mean? So again, not to be said arrogant. I'm obviously influenced by others in the industry. And then I also like believe to just go with my own self with like what I'm observing and think is dope. And then the biggest thing is like all respect and praise due to our partners. They're amazing. They're killing it. Like that's a beautiful thing in life in general. It doesn't have to just be on collab, but you give someone a chance and they run with it. That's amazing.
I mean, speaking of that too, because I think the last two releases you did, one with Saucony sneaks, and then there's the other one. It's like the plaid one.
Biso.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think her name's Jail.
Yeah.
Jail. Yeah.
The artsy, very community based releases. And it's like, it's the same thing where I with the Beamer release, it was just like, yo, now like this gives people hope. Like it gives people hope. Like you don't have to be like some crazy, big name, this featured designer or whatever in order to even get, this opportunity. But like, where did that come about? Where you're just like, I'm gonna take this chance because they're two great shoes. I still got to get the Saucony sneaks one. The Divs. What is how do you say his at? Divs Pat? What's his name?
Oh, his Instagram thing? Yeah. I don't know how to like say that.
Something.
Yeah. But that's Rainer from Saucony Sneaks, and he's the man. But I mean, it came from someone else that used to be at the brand, or he pulled it together. But the way I saw it, or like kind of put it into the atmosphere, is that through Bima's past work, you know what I mean? And what he did with content creators before content creator was a thing, you know what I mean? So it's a callback a little bit, like a modern way. I think it could be built on a little more and done differently, but at the same time, not taking away like, these are people that were connected to other people or our brand itself for many years.
Right. Yeah.
So, giving
Saucony
them the
Sneaks
chance
page
is like,
has been around.
Years
and years.
Yeah.
I don't know the other person's page. Sorry.
Biso? Biso's like an OG, and like a lot of people know him, and he, again, this is someone else's project, but I could at least speak to the fact that he had a story to tell. You know what I mean? Like it came from something, and he really expressed from his background and his roots. And like, so whether it was me, someone else that worked here, or probably in the future, like I think that's like a Saucony thing. We're going to allow you to do what you do, you know what I mean? And like really do your thing. And I like that. I think people are starting to feel that. That's why they love what we're doing right now, because they know like that creativity wasn't, like taken away or stripped down by other stuff. We allow people to cook.
I think that's what's great about it too.
It just shows you on the ground level at all times, and I think that's really, really dope. Like we talk about that all the time, the 38th floor syndrome. Like you get so high up, you're not really knowing what's going on down here, and everybody's dealing with big players, big collabs. But everything you've been saying, I'm like, that's how you stay tapped into a culture, and that's how you
stay grounded.
Shit happen. Yeah, you stay grounded. Like that's really cool to give opportunities in that kind of way. It's dope.
It's important. That's why like it always comes back to the street. Like I used to complain, like my office was like on the floor, like the sales floor basically. And it was hard to get work done because like always talking, and I can't focus because I'm even just listening to what people are saying. But it was good because now I miss it. You know what I mean? So I try to seek that out. But I mean, anyone that's in this industry in any sort of way, if you're not like if you're not part of those conversations, and you don't have to be actively a somebody in them, but you should be having those conversations, whether you go in stores or talking to whoever, waiting online, if people still do that, you know what I mean? That's like what you're saying. Like that's like the real shit. That's where it all comes from. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are always trying to figure out and tap into, but from a distance, like get in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Like get your hands dirty.
Especially now, with the, Jeff Staple reopened Staple, and like 21 Mercer. And I feel like, now we're getting back to the regrowth of sneaker culture where everybody's like showing up, everybody's doing things, and Saucony is definitely in that. Like, you and the team have always just been like, I feel like the way it's been bubbling, it definitely stems from just like, you guys being like, yo, we're gonna invest into the smaller people, or just like the people that actually are about the culture. And now that I feel like your investment, this is what I'm saying, I'm bringing this full circle, baby. Your investment has definitely come through, like the seeds that you've laid have come to start blooming, especially during this like growth of how sneakers is back, was what they're saying, sneakers is back.
I think it never went anywhere.
Yeah, I'm also.
But I know I know what there's. I know maybe the excitement is.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm like, I don't know. There's who knows how things work, but like, it's not like we're the first at all.
Right. No.
But when we do Jay's first shoe at Joy Flower Pot, and like New York shows up to the launch. Like that changed shit.
Yeah.
It clear,
big time.
like you could just tell. People have told us, they're like, yeah, that's on our brand's mood board. You know what I mean? Like, cool.
Yeah.
And it's not like they haven't done it before, other brands and other people haven't done it. But
I mean, I feel like, COVID really stripped away a lot of that like element of touching and feeling.
That's a big reason. But more importantly, it's just like, regardless of who else didn't do it, how often it's happening, that was the right thing to do for us at the time, for Jay to do at the time. You know what I mean? And that's how I go by. I try not to like, I don't even have time to think about, I don't know, the other elements of like who's whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's just kind of do what's right for us.
Yeah. Before we head out of here, I got one last question for you.
Yes.
What'd you think about John Cena's heel turn?
My God. Dude, I think one day you and Flex need the wrestling episode, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I have no idea where it's going.
Yeah.
I can't predict it, but I did feel like that was coming.
Yeah.
I did feel that was coming. I forgot there was something that happened where I was like, I think that's actually going to happen because of whatever.
I feel like they said it too much. Like it was like foreshadowing of like, he's lost this one. Now he lost another big one. And I'm like,
they're leading me down it. But at the same time, there were times in that match I'm like, I don't think he is going to do it. You know what I mean? So it still came off amazing. Like what a moment. I probably have chills thinking about it. I love stuff like that.
Me too.
I always wonder if that can that translate into our world?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
not forced, because there are like, not to start beef or whatever, but like there are people that consider themselves the bad guy of sneakers or whatever.
Like the heel.
And and I find it so corny.
Yeah.
Like
trying to figure who we're talking about here, but
No, I'll let you know off mic.
Okay.
But there are people that definitely do that, purposely or.
That's not cool.
It's not cool. I think it's like, if you're just doing hot takes to do hot takes, that's lame. If you want, like, you have to get people to come in, love you, and then be like, Jordan 11s are trash. And then there you go. Yeah. Now you got people that hate you.
Yeah. I hope that Jordan 3 comment didn't come off like that. It's just
you've got that's your heel turn, baby.
That's my heel turn. No, I feel like not John Cena, but the other guys, that's like you're both at the same time. You know what I mean? Like the best wrestlers have so much conviction, and like that means that it's really coming from a place. So if they're really likable and everyone's feeling them, it's coming from a place that everyone can relate to. And when they turn, that's coming from a place of frustration that people can relate to too. And if that's real, like you said, like I like being in that space where you can go back and forth. We're having a nice conversation, so I'm mostly friendly today, but you know what I mean? It could turn heel at any moment. But I hear you. The forcing is not good. It did not feel forced. Cena killed it. And his follow-up, like, it was
that follow-up, man.
I was like, gosh. Yeah, I'm in my feelings watching this. I'm watching little kids, like, their faces.
Like,
that is... That's
and he was like, because like I did make a joke about it, but he was like, no new music, no new clothes, no new nothing. And I was like, and I immediately thought Gene Wilder and Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
You get nothing, sir. You drank the fizzy lifting drinks, nothing. And I was like, he's right now. He's right now. That's what he's doing.
I was thinking about like, I have been to, one time I saw a wrestling event in Paris Fashion Week, like that Brain Dead did. Yeah. And this kid, he was so excited. He waited online. He was not part of Paris Fashion Week. He was there because there was a local wrestling event. Yeah. And he was dressed as John Cena. Like this kid was head to toe John Cena. And then another time we went to see one of the, whether it was Mania or SummerSlam at a movie theater, just with some friends to like, to not watch it on the couch, like watch it in a movie theater. The people I sat next to were like the John Cena family. And they took everything to heart. Yeah. Like every move, I'm like, he's gonna get up, like calm down, or anything. Like really, they were buying. Yeah. And all I could think about as he's turning it was like, these people are crushed. Yeah. Like their world is crumbling. Like I can't believe he did that to them. But I'm like, yes.
Yeah. There was a guy. So I have a group chat with Brian and the homies, and so like there's a picture somebody posted in there, and it was this guy on the train that they took. That the guy was full John Cena, blue shirt, hat, got the elbow pads, the knee pads, everything, the jeans, got the Kmart sneakers, right? And all the caption was, "I wonder what this guy is feeling right now after he turned heel." Oh my god, man, it's crazy. I think that that's such a sentiment because he was the face of the company for so long, and now he's like, I'm gonna take down the face of the company. It's crazy for you to be like, wow, Cody is actually the guy right now that they have to be like, I gotta bring in, the former face to bring down.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian though, because when I fall in and out of wrestling sometimes, and like I was getting back into it, especially because you can't not if you're around Brian, but like Cena's popping up here and there, and I was like, I don't like this guy. Like all I associate him is like a spinner belt and jorts, and you know what I mean. Like I do not like him, and it's so cheesy. Yeah. You know what I mean.
I was with you on that too. Yeah. For like during his like
Brian kept saying, he was like, no, like he's so good. You have no idea. You know what I mean. And it took me a long time, but there was a John Cena AJ Styles match.
That was great. That and the Kevin Owens match was really good.
There's so many now that I think, but like that one really turned me around. And then anything he said, I was like, the other day I thought this was corny. Now I think it's amazing. You know what I mean?
So I got back into wrestling in 2013 because of Summer of Punk, and that's Cena Punk. And like that storytelling that they both did, I was like, all right.
I don't know it too well.
You gotta watch. You gotta rewatch. Do a rewatch on that on the train back or wherever, because it's like it just like even just do the lead up, like just do the promo video and then do the match, and you'll be good. You'll be set straight. But let's But that's the end of that part. But let people know where to find you, Jay.
No, don't find me.
Don't find you on LinkedIn.
I'm laying the cut. Don't send me energy emails and whatnot. And no,
plug what you got to plug.
Just follow Saucony. But no. My Instagram is um.jf13. That's gonna actually. I wish I knew my letterbox thing. I'd rather people follow me. Follow me on Letterboxd.
I'll put his letterbox in the description of this podcast, the podcast, so you can check it out.
So all one people follow me.
No, I got a huge actually 50%. No, I'm just playing.
No, I don't know. Say, people on it like that. Good.
And you know where to find me. I am Who Is Hasa on social medias. D, tell them where to find you.
And you know where to find me. D-triple-E, and then Oxymorons. That's 2 R's with an S at the end.
New stuff. That new stuff is fire.
That new stuff is coming, and y'all see us on tour soon. You know what time it is.
And you know where to follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. Hit up the YouTube. I'm close to 1,000 subscribers. We just got monetized, baby. Let's go.
Monetization.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have to get on you. I watch it or I listen to it. obviously I see the clips.
Yeah.
But now I have to watch the.
Please
Watch. If it helps you like that,
Watch the episode.
Please watch.
Watch the episode. Not just the clips.
Copper shirt. We're doing. We're switching it up by the time this come out, right?
Yes, we are absolutely switching it up by the time this comes out. So you get the new shirts, and it's gonna be consistent too. It's gonna be fun.
Facts. We got those printed. We're good to go.
We got a whole new production team. So
yes, sir.
It's about to be fun.
Stepping it up.
Yeah. And if you got a My First Kick story, you want me to read it to my guests, hit me up, info@myfirstkicks.com. And you know what we say each week? Wear your kicks. Peace.